A husband takes care of his wife every day, she forgets him. But when he reads her favorite poem, she remembers everything and whispers his name one last time before passing away. What was the name of the husband? John. John and Mary were high school sweethearts. They got married right after graduation and moved to San Francisco. At first, their life was tough. It was the usual struggle of any young couple trying to make it in a big city. John worked in construction and often came home with dirty hands and clothes, but that didn't bother Mary. To her, John was a handsome Prince Charming who could do no wrong. As the years went by, their life got easier. John started his own business and became successful. He never forgot where he started and always remained humble. Mary became a well-known local poet and published several books. They had 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl, and eventually bought a nice house in the suburbs. But this idyllic life would soon be shattered. One evening, while walking in the park, Mary suddenly collapsed. An ambulance brought her to the nearest hospital. The doctors did some tests and told John that his wife had early-onset Alzheimer's disease. "It's okay," said the doctor. "There is still hope. With proper treatment, she might live a normal life for another 10 years. Those words stuck with John like a splinter in his brain. He visited Mary every day and read to her from her favorite books. At first she seemed to enjoy it, but then she started reacting strangely. "Who are you?" she asked once. "I don't know you," she said another time. John was devastated, but he knew that this was part of the disease. He continued visiting her, even though she didn't recognize him anymore. One day, John read one of Mary's poems to her. It was called The Nameless One. "My love, you ask me who I am," the poem began, "and I reply, I am the wind beneath your wings. I am the strength that guides your way. I am the voice that whispers love to you each day. Although you may not see me or hear me call, I am always with you, near or far. I am the nameless one, yet I am all to you." As John read these lines, tears streamed down Mary's face. "Oh, my love," she whispered. "I remember now. I remember who you are. You are the one who loved me." And with those words, Mary passed away. John was overcome with emotion. Even though Mary had forgotten him for most of their lives together, she remembered his name and their love story in the end. He felt grateful for the time they'd shared and the memories they'd made. He knew that Mary's love had been real and true, even if she couldn't remember his name. He returned to the car, his heart heavy with grief, but also with a sense of peace. As he drove home, he thought about how lucky he was to have had Mary in his life. Sure, there were times when it had been hard, but overall, he wouldn't trade their life together for anything. He parked the car and walked slowly towards the house. He opened the front door and stepped inside. This was the house where he and Mary had raised their children. It was filled with memories of happier times. John walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. He closed his eyes and thought about Mary. He could almost feel her presence beside him, as if she were here in the room with him. He smiled sadly and whispered, "I love you, Mary." Suddenly, he heard a noise in the kitchen. John opened his eyes and looked around. Was that Mary? Could it be possible that she was back? But no, it was just the wind. He got up and walked into the kitchen. There was nothing there, only an empty chair. John sighed and shook his head. It was just his grief playing tricks on him. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, John grew older. He missed Mary terribly, but he knew that she was in a better place now. One day, John decided to go to the park where he and Mary had first met. He sat down on a bench and looked around. The park was beautiful, but it wasn't the same without Mary. He took out the handkerchief from his pocket and began to cry. "Oh, Mary," he sobbed. "Where are you? Why did you have to leave me?" Just then, a young woman approached John. "Are you okay, sir?" she asked. John looked up and saw a kind-faced woman standing in front of him. "I'm sorry," he said, wiping his eyes. "It's nothing. I'm just an old man who misses his wife." The woman nodded understandingly. "I understand," she said. "I lost my husband a few years ago and I still miss him sometimes." She paused for a moment. "Do you want to hear something funny?" she asked. John nodded, surprised. "When my husband died, he had forgotten my name," the woman said. "But when I read his favorite poem to him, he remembered everything and whispered my name one last time." John was shocked. "You mean like the poem that I wrote to Mary?" he asked. The woman smiled. "Yes," she said. "That's the one." John felt a surge of happiness. He took the woman's hand and said, "Thank you. I was so happy to hear that because that's exactly what happened with my Mary." The woman squeezed his hand. "I'm glad we could share this moment together," she said. "It's nice to know that our love stories ended this way." This story is an example of how love can transcend even death. Despite forgetting his wife for most of her illness, the husband never gave up on her. His unwavering love and devotion paid off in the end as she remembered him in her final moments. It also shows how Alzheimer's can be a cruel and isolating disease, taking away a person's memories and loved ones, but not their love. The poem that Mary had written for John became a symbol of their enduring relationship, bringing them back together in the end. The encounter with the other grieving widow added another layer to the story, emphasizing that they were not alone in their loss, and that there were others who had experienced similar heartache and healing. Overall, the story is a reminder to cherish our loved ones while we can and to find comfort in knowing that love knows no bounds. Now check out this story about a woman who cheated on her husband. But when she found out that he was terminally ill, She wanted to spend his last moments. He tells her, "Get out." Or have a look at this one about a woman who was tired of her husband being a workaholic. One day she took matters into her own hands.